Hey gang, Bronco Carl 92 here. So looks like we have a little project to do this evening. I got a 4L80E with a broken output shaft. Alright, so I picked this thing up from Krusty Kenny's shop. My buddy Greg works for someone named Kenny, and Kenny works on pretty much anything that's totally rusty and crappy, so I call it Krusty Kenny's shop. So anyhow, the output shaft here basically just spins. So I'm going to basically get this thing out of the truck, we'll get it in the garage, we'll get it up on the bench, we'll tear it down, and we'll see what's up. So Alright, so I did a video series on a 4L80E build, I guess a year and a half, 2 years ago. And I got a few complaints. Gee, imagine getting complaints on YouTube. Complaints from people that don't make videos. But anyhow, that's another subject for another time. But anyhow, I did a 4L80E build up for a guy named Jerry. And I guess I failed to do a decent teardown video, which I'm sorry for. But anyway, to make up for that, since we have to take this one apart anyway to get the output shaft out, I'll show you how to take this thing apart. So I'm going to run the camera actually the whole time and trim it. It's going to be something new for me to try. We'll see how that works. So, and I'll use the other camera for some close-up shots. So anyhow, without further ado, let's get going. Alright, so we got the trans up on the bench. I'm draining out the fluid here. I'm going to do what I call the bleed out. And I'm going to go inside and make some dinner. The fluid actually doesn't look terrible. I guess that's good. Truck has 60,000 miles on it, and this trans was supposedly put in at 29, so it doesn't have all that many miles on it. Interesting that the output shaft snapped on it. So we'll get it apart and we'll see what we got. Alright, so let's get started. First we take off the pan. This is weird, someone was in here before. These bolts are not the originals. Actually has one original bolt. Looks like that. The truck this came off of was quite a sight. I don't know if I'd be spending any money on it or scrapping it and getting the scrap money from it. It's pretty nasty. That looks pretty good inside. There's obviously some metal filing here. I would assume that that's from the broken shaft. But Greg assumed that this thing was going to look like a scrapyard inside. Doesn't look that way. It's nice. So I'll get the filter off next. It just lifts out. Reusable oil pan gasket. Alright, so here's our valve body. So to get the valve body out, we have to remove all of these screws. There's 20 or so of them. Next we'll remove this reverse servo. This tube comes out when we remove the valve body. Then we'll pull the pump out. Okay, the valve body is held in place with 8 and 10 millimeter screws. So the pressure manifold, pressure switch assembly, 8s. 6 of those. The rest of the bolts are 10s. Okay, 21 of those total. This thing has a very interesting smell. It's kind of citrusy. I'm not sure what's up with that. There's a retention clip on this lube tube over here. Don't lose that. Of course, our Park detent spring. Lubrication tube. And our case connector. Now I could say when you remove the case connector, you should be a little gentle with it because otherwise the tabs break off and then it doesn't stay in place. And this actually still has all the tabs in place, which is nice. If you do break a tab, Sonex makes a metal clip that actually bolts on here that will keep that from pushing back in so you don't have to buy a new harness connector. So there were 21 bolts total. If I didn't say that before, I don't remember. Okay, while we're here, reverse servo, 10 millimeter bolts, 6 total. Servo piston assembly, spring, and then our front band apply servo and spring. Now you might feel compelled to just flip this baby over and get the pump out. There's check balls. We got to pull them out first, otherwise we're going to lose them. 1, 2. 3. If you can't see them because of the oil, just run your magnet down each of these tracks and your magnet will grab them. 4. 5. correctly, there are six, 7. And don't worry if you didn't see where they came from, because the rebuild kit has a little page that shows you where the balls go. And if you use a heavy-duty valve body kit, he shows you which to leave out. So I just throw them in with the servo assembly there. And the last thing we can do while we're here is we can remove these bolts here for the fourth clutch and for the rear support. I figured out what smells citrusy. It's this rag that Kenny stuffed in a dipstick tube. Okay, so the front feed bolt is a T40 Torx. Sometimes it's tight. Do a little persuasion with a breaker bar. And then the rear feed bolt is a 12.3/8. That can be tight too. Someone complained one time that my gun, that thing's old, why don't you get a new one? Why? For small work, it works quite well. This bolt is actually quite tight. This has like an interference type thread on it. Okay, next we take the pump out. I like to tip it slow so I don't bathe the floor in trans fluid. There's an O-ring around the input shaft. If you don't take that off, it makes the pump kind of give you grief when you go to pull it out. You could put a slide hammer in one of these holes and pop the pump up that way. I just take a screwdriver and go in this hole here, and the pump's out. Alright, so next we're going to pull out our turbine shaft and overrun clutch assembly. That just lifts out. It's got a little crap that fell out from the inside. And next is our fourth clutch assembly, which just lifts right out. Start pulling the gear train assembly out. I'll show you what these components are in a minute. That lifts out. band. Alright, well hopefully you can see this. Anyway, sorry for the background noise. It's actually chilly in the garage, so I got my heat on. So there's just a snap ring in here. So you just got to grab the end of it with a screwdriver. So, of course, that snap ring out, and then you lift your intermediate plates and steels out. That one's not burnt. That's amazing. Worn, not burnt. Everyone I've taken apart, these are burnt up. Okay, next there's a snap ring that holds the piston in place. It's a tapered over snap ring, and I'll show you about that in a second. Okay, so this snap ring here, I tore another glove, is tapered, as you can see, and when this goes back in, the flat side actually has to go against the piston assembly. Alright, so you can drive yourself nuts, or you can actually remove this cooler return fitting in the back here, which actually feeds right into the center support there. Okay, so once that's out, just lift the center support out, the sun shaft, side, face saver ring, just lifts out. And finally, what's left of the gear train. That's quite interesting. I'll show you that in a second. The sprite just came apart on me, but that's no big deal. Reverse band just pops out. Right, and here's the output shaft, what's left of it. Looks like it's kind of weak right here, so yeah, I can see that breaking quite easily. Anyhow, let me show you the other side of it. Well, here's our output assembly. So let's pop this snap ring out here. And that's basically the output shaft right there, and where it broke. So there's not really much material here, so I guess you could see how it could break easily. Kind of amazing that that's all it is. So anyhow, that's for the engineers to figure out. Alright, so anyway, that was a quick teardown of that 4L80E. I messaged Kenny. He's going to order some parts tomorrow, and we're going to slap this baby back together. I told him that the clutches actually look decent, and if it was my truck, I'd leave the clutches alone. Actually, I said if it was my truck, I'd probably scrap the truck, because the thing is that much of a piece of crap. So But anyhow, that's it. So as always, guys, thanks for watching. Stay tuned for, I guess, what we'll call part 2. Take care. Good night.